Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check, waifu. Can you tell them? Is that you?
Episode 316, what's up?
This is episode 316 of Mic Check Waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast. Is where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, the After Stories, where you can get access to the pre-show, which goes live 2 days before the episode goes live. It's where you get access to all kinds of bonus content. Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Mic Check Waifu, and our gaming podcast, youtube.com/@Respect Games. Join the Discord. Both information, all information is listed in the description of the YouTube video and the description of the podcast show notes. Thank you so much for supporting us. We appreciate it. Shout out to the Patreon producers, Christian, the Archivist, Dad Needs to Talk Podcast, Fear, Chaotic Culture from Chaotic Culture, Get the Pro from Chaotic Culture Podcast, Explicitly, All for One Matt, Matthew H, Monique Williams, Simi Sensei, Frozen, and last but not least, our guy, Rob Stone. Thank you so much for producing this and many episodes of the podcast. We couldn't do it without you. It means the world to us. Thank you so much for your support. Mic Check Waifu is the anime podcast to bring you seasonal topic discussion every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT. And we are here to do the same per usual. Let's talk episode of the week this week for the week of September 1st. By the time September 2nd.
Yeah.
September 2nd, by the time everybody's hearing this.
This is out of left field, brother. And it's one that I normally wouldn't pick. But episode made me a little teary-eyed, so I ain't gonna lie to you. Dr.Stone.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it was their best episode, but it was definitely a good one. They left me a little gut and heart wrenched, but great episode.
All episodes of Dr.Stone, this for me this season, and I probably am alone on this one. I've been super high on it. I just think they've been fantastic.
I agree. This season has been like solid.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Yeah, for me, I didn't want to do this, but I have to. It's going back to last season, but I got to go with Sword of the Demon Hunter because I still think it's a quality show that deserves attention. It is so fucking good. And it's going to factor into what our main topic is later on in this episode. So that's going to be interesting. But before we get into that, anything you watched recently, lately, that you want to discuss?
So I did watch the episode of Betrothed to My Sister's Ex.
Okay.
Now,
which one?
I do want to. I am behind, so just give me some grace on that, right? Those of you in the Discord, y'all do know that I am not too high on this anime, right? But yeah, I watched episode 6. And that's the episode where she's like talking to her future mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Absolutely adorable episode. Yeah. Absolutely cute.
It gets even cuter from there.
I gotta say, as a resident Betrothed to My Sister's Ex hater, that episode alone made me feel like I was wrong.
Oh.
I don't know how far it's gonna go because the last few episodes I remember watching, right? Episode 5 wasn't bad. Episode 6 wasn't bad. And I'm just like, man, if it stays like this, I might mess around and be like, look, y'all, I was wrong.
Yeah, no, I think it would dissipate when you get further though. There's a particular episode I think that if you watch it, you're gonna be like, damn, okay, I get it. And yeah, that's all I was waiting for. I watched Ugly Mug. I caught up to that. Because you gave an episode of the week last week, and I had to figure out what was the episode of the week last week when there was so many other better episodes last week. And I figured it's just because you wanted to give it some credit. But I gotta say, this show is awful. It's not good. What's wrong with it? The thing that's wrong with it is it made me think of the topic that we're going to talk about today, and that's world building. Okay, the art of world building, because we often talk about here on Mic Check Waifu, characters being the most important thing in the anime, and while I still believe that wholeheartedly, I think world building is so close to second that it's hard to even like separate the two. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say that is because when I was watching Epic Fighter, I'm like, it's so bad as far as world building is concerned that I am completely checked out. I was completely checked out, but I watched the whole thing. I caught up on everything. I got to the part where and understood why you said something is finally actually like happening, in which they were introduced a villainous character. And I just think it's terrible. I just think it was a terrible idea, a terrible plot move, a terrible world move. It doesn't work for me in this show at all whatsoever because the world is so bad. Characters are pretty terrible too, but the world is just so comically bad that the characters seem so much better than they actually are. And the reason why I say that is because there's nothing to it, like at all whatsoever.
What I think is funny, and I have to entirely agree with you, right? Because I don't think this show is necessarily good by almost any stretch of the imagination, right? Yeah. Animation is not top tier. None of the ideas are necessarily unique or anything like that. And some of the things that they play on are not good, right? The world building, like you said, the closest thing to world building you have is just the characters themselves who present themselves within the show. And when you said it's something on my list, I thought it was going to be this. I thought it was going to be this because I'm like, I hope that Polo doesn't think I think this is a great show because I don't actually think it's a great show.
I know you didn't. But what had me curious was when you said it got episode of the week because of something that finally happened. And I'm like, okay, so I got a feeling, and this is what I had a prerequisite, so a pre-bias to what I'm about to what you said because of that.
Yeah.
What my thought was like he doesn't like it, but something finally happened to where it caught his attention enough to earn episode of the week. And lo and behold, it's the thing where they introduced this villainous character who is the same as essentially our main character. But then even like when I was watching that, I'm like, yeah, that's the reason. I get that. I totally get that. Because it wasn't shit going down pretty much the entire 8 episodes I watched before that, or 7 episodes I watched before that. But then I'm like, okay, so if you, and maybe this is something that gets explained later, but it just fucks up the world building because of, look at the way our character looks. You mean to tell me somebody has the same power and they look like that? Like it didn't make sense as far as like the world lore goes. You know what I'm saying? With the way everything was set up at the very first episode. And I'm like, it's just a missed opportunity. Because if you took the time and build the world first and then proceed to put these characters in it, because I think the characters are supposed to be the thing that shine in the show, and they get, and I'm a spoiler alert, they get these random transformations. That is, I mean, I get why, but
the booty butt cheeks. Yeah,
it's just stupid. That I'm like, I was just like, I don't know, you know, I was out of it. But that lead me to think about like all the shows that I watched in that previous week or this previous week that just has such tremendous world building and the art of it and how they navigate it and what's important to them and what's not important and how the characters navigate that particular piece of the show. I think that's going to leave for a very interesting topic.
I agree. And I think that the topic you brought today is phenomenal. So I'm excited to do this. So I'm ready.
So, okay. First question for the topic then is, what is world building to you, Tel? Because I mean, to be honest, it could be subjectively. It could be subjective, you know. Like what I consider world building could be different from what you consider world building.
So I think the and I'm gonna put this in I guess the context that I see it in, right? World building is both simple and kind of like this diverse idea, right? The simplicity in it is that it's literally just the world. You know what I mean? What is your setting?
Uh-oh. They're locked up. I don't know if he knows he locked
People up. That, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Good?
Yep, it just came back.
All right, cool. So I think about like what is your location, what's your setting, what's your demographic, and by demographic I mean like what's the people, what are the living animals, creatures, environment, what's the planet like? Do you have a sun? Do you have two suns? Do you have a moon? What do things look like? And that's like basic surface level. That's just like pure boring world building, right? Then you have the idea of and I'm telling you, this is just how I see it, right? And a lot of this can be told just visually. You don't have to necessarily say some of these things for it to even mean anything, or you just show it. And then you have like, is there a power system? If we're talking about like a anime that is action centric, if we're talking about something like Remake Our Life, the world would be the focal point or focus of that character, where it's, what is this character doing? This character is a game developer, and what is their goal in life? Like, is that is part of what the world would be for me in terms of where are they at? They're going to be in a city, an ecosystem that is around that character. I guess that's the best way to phrase it. The ecosystem around the characters.
That's well said. Because I'm similar, or I'm roughly similar. I think my example is a little bit more simple, but still, again, like you said, convoluted as well. Because for me, world building is just a layer. It's layers. It's simple layers. It's does your world have structure? Does it have rules? And do the characters follow within those rules in a meaningful way that's coherent to what the character and overall story is? Okay, so for example, I'm gonna give a perfect example of this. Hate the characters of the show, love the world. Attack on Titan. I think Attack on Titan is probably one of the most brilliant worlds out there. Now another one. I'm now being really surface level here, just for people who can understand what I'm talking about as far as what I love it, as far as world building goes. So, Attack on Titan, hate the characters, love the world. The characters are so bad that it just makes me not give a fuck about the world. So that is where I am there. But the world, if you separate the characters from the world, it's a almost perfect show in that aspect. One Piece, and I'm being very surface level, so everybody that understands anime, you know, I'm going to the most basic anime that people can understand on where I'm coming from as far as top tier world building. One Piece has top tier world building. Can't stand the way it's developed, and what I mean by that is having all these episodes for running for 25 episodes to one place. Like the TikTok you sent me, but it's literally that TikTok is exactly how I feel. 25 episodes of Luffy running up the Marineford is still scarred in my brain because it's just so bad. But the world in One Piece is the most grand, the most vast, the most, I think, and again, I'm only quote unquote, I'm only 750 episodes in, but
only, bro, you ain't that far yet. You just started.
Exactly. But that is what I feel to be like good or great world building even.
Yeah.
And that's just simple stuff. Obviously there's more nuance and depth to shows that I find to be my top tier favorite. That is just what I consider good world building. My top tier favorites worlds are like Jobless Reincarnation or Overlord. I fucking love Overlord's world, probably more than his characters, even though I love the characters so much. But the world of Overlord is just so good, undeniably good, and how deep it goes that I can't deny.
Yeah, and I agree, and I feel like what you said raises more questions, right? And I'm not sure if this is something you want to talk about after that, because I know that when you talk about things like One Piece, you talk about Overlord, you talk about let's say Grimgar Fantasy and Ash, you talk about Bleach or any of these anime, and there's so many of them with great worlds, but you mentioned Ugly Mug Epic Fighter, right?
Yeah.
And let me say this: the concept of the world in Ugly Mug Epic Fighter itself, I don't think is necessarily bad.
I don't even think there's a concept though.
But here's what I think is a huge detractor in a lot of things, right? And I'll say this: what deteriorates the world more than anything? And I think what deteriorates or destroys a world that you may have created is the characters don't accurately or efficiently operate within that world, within the confines you set.
Rules, yep.
So like, you create a world, you create rules, and you either don't describe those rules adequately, or you don't let the characters live by those rules. And that's why I'll say, when I say this, just know I'm not a huge fan of this anime per se, but I'm not a hater of it. Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Its power system and the confines and structure of that power system is kind of really cool, kind of super creative. Really is, yeah. And it builds that world in a way that makes it so interesting. You know what I mean? When there are other things about it that just kind of flop. So when I watch Hunter x Hunter and I'm looking at this power system, how the characters act throughout that power system and in the world, conversely, how that operation is, it is kind of cool, and I can understand why so many people love Hunter x Hunter the way they do. Yeah. I can understand why people feel like, man, this is a cool system, because it's described and operated and like shown in a way that makes it make sense. It makes sense.
And everybody falls within those rules.
Right. And they could have failed that so easily by just stepping outside those rules constantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, just thinking back to the show after watching Epic Fighter, thinking back to the other shows I watched this week too. Okay, so to use Epic Fighter as a perfect example of a terrible world, there is nothing there to the world. There's just these characters and these special notes, as they call it. Everything else is non-existent, right? They did mention something about one of the characters that came ended up becoming the king of this world, but who are the people that didn't come to this world? What are the quote unquote NPCs? Are there NPCs? We don't know none of that shit. It's just nothing there is even established or built. It's just people go to this world because of this, because we decided this. This fucking computer thing. And it just happens. And then one character seems to have went beyond the rules and broke it and became Almighty God. But guess what? And spoilers for Ugly, but trust me, you're fine. They introduce another Almighty God, but with the rules that they set that had to make our main character this Almighty God, this other new character that is Almighty God doesn't seem to have none of those problems. Now, I will say, we don't know though. Yeah, there are some special notes that you can put, but like, what else would make you an Almighty God other than what he did? You understand what I'm saying? Because maybe an Almighty God is considered in the millions of stat points because he's in the trillions. Yeah. So
I do think that also, just to be fair, they said you have to sacrifice specifically one of the like major sins or something like that.
Sure.
So he sacrificed lust.
Yeah, and but he had his points before he sacrificed lust. So that's not following the rules of the world. Because when he put his ugliness down to negative 225, that's when he achieved all of his stat points. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And then he said, okay, but I only get 1/10,000th of my money. And he got another stack of millions of points. And then he sacrificed lust, which brought even more points on top of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that point remains the same. What could have been the reason these other Almighty God becomes there? Like, okay, you sacrifice one of the other sins, but what could that have been to where you still look like that? You apparently has no issues touching guys. Like, it's just a bunch of shit that don't seem to correlate right now. Maybe that will get explained, right? Maybe it will. Right. But even if it does, it don't feel like any relevance. But I that's a side tangent. I didn't mean to go into that. The point is, I watched Ugly Mug, and then I watched Lord of Mysteries. And Lord of Mysteries' most recent episode, well, not most recent episode, but episode 6 of the dubbed was again another, I would say, chef's kiss or perfect 10 out of 10 when it comes to world that you would ever see in an anime. Because then what it does is it breaks down, it explores the historical events, the relevance of these historical events. It explores the cultural aspects of this world. It explores even, I mean, it explores the power system in one of the best ways possible, because again, you can have a world where the main character doesn't know much and still have an in-depth world with a lot of nuance and detail and just mystery that it makes you just feel enthralled and wanting to know more about it, right? Like Overlord did for me, or in this case, Lord of Mysteries. I'm fucking infatuated with what this is right now. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's the perfect example of brilliant world building.
I have to agree. And I have this most recent episode of Lord of Mysteries gave me theories, and it just compounded with what we saw. And I'm like, you know what I think? And I can't say it until we get to spoiler talk. But man, do you know what I think? is how I felt watching Lord of Mysteries. The world and the rules it established makes me feel like I'm not going to say it makes me feel like I can predict it, while also just so understanding of I might be entirely wrong. I might, because that's not how the world, it is how the world is set up, but it's also the world is set up in a way in which that could be entirely false, or it leaves you with a sense of mystery while also making you not feel clueless.
So 2 things. This is how I look at it too. I think slice of life world building is all about immersion, right? Mm-hmm. How immersed you are within the characters, right? Like the my sleeper, for instance, how immersed are you into these 2 characters and what they're building together, and their back and forth. Or same thing with well, I guess it's a little bit different to Betrothed to My Sister X, because there is a whole world. And with this most recent episode, they even go into the depths of the world, which is, again, wow. But we can talk about that when you catch up. And then you have I guess the word I'm looking for is like, what's the word I'm looking for? When it's like something like Attack on Titan or Jobless Reincarnation, or something just more vast as far as like the world goes. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't think it's necessarily immersion when it comes to worlds. Like, you're not getting immersed in, maybe you are in a sense, but not the same way you would in a slice of life show, right? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Immersion is with following along with the character's story,
right,
so to speak, versus like with something like Jobs Reincarnation. I would even say like Overlord and whatnot. You're immersed. You're dropped into the whole like economic and political process of the world.
I couldn't think of a more truncated way of saying that, but that's it. Same with JJK. Like there's just pieces of this world that you're dropped into, like the demon aspect of it, and the way people view it and shit like that. As it's immersive, but in a whole different sense.
Right. And hear me out when I say this, right? And I told Polo I was gonna tell him about this.
Oh yeah.
This comment that was made by a friend of mine, my friend Brandon. He is a huge fan of a very specific anime and a huge hater of another very specific anime. one of which Polo and I both despise and don't like. The other of which Polo and I both love. When I say this, I'm telling you, Polo's gonna laugh. So my boy Brandon, he said he only has time to watch like one anime a week. And the specific anime he watches is Dandadan.
Okay.
He says Dandadan is peak. The animation, the sound design, he loves the characters. Everything about it is amazing. Then he goes on to say that Hell's Paradise is arguably the worst anime he's ever watched in his life. It's a complete waste of time.
It can't be real.
That's what I said. That's what I said, bro. And hear me out.
That can't be real.
Hear me out. When I said this, and I'm like, Brandon, we agree on so many things. How could this not be one of them? I thought he was bullshitting me, bro.
Yeah, it sounds like a joke.
But he's not. He is not, bro. He will argue me up and down. And listen to me when I say this. I get that too many people that the characters are enriching and endearing, and you love them, and that you're interested in like what the aspects of the world is. When you compare it to something like Hell's Paradise, with a well fleshed out power system, with and I'm not even gonna say well fleshed out because I don't even think we've gotten all of it yet.
Yeah,
but with the details that we've already received, with the information about the characters and how the I wouldn't say alliances, but how the variations on this island even goes. I can't see how something like this could be considered anything less than amazing.
It's safe to say that both Dandadan, and Hell's Paradise was made for the same audience, right? It's safe to say that?
I would assume so. Okay.
So if it's safe to say that, then it's also safe to say that this is about to come off as insulting. I hate feeling like I'm talking down, quote unquote, to anybody, because that's just not who I am. I don't care too much about other people's thoughts, but like, I just think it's a attention span thing, man. I think what Dandadan does so well is what shows like Dragon Ball do so well. It's what shows like Hunter x Hunter does so well. It shows like even though I'm a fan of it, One Piece does so well. And that's captivates you with shit on screen, man. It's just, I think that's what, again, we talk about this all the time. It's the dangling of the keys, man.
And you might be right. And I'm going to tell you why I think you're 100% right when you say that. Bro works in IT 5 days a week.
He ain't got time.
Then the other 2 days, he works his part-time job.
And you really think he want to sit there and watch something where he has to think about stuff?
I'm like, he probably definitely turns his brain off. And
Exactly.
Dandadan is and I'm not going to say it's the perfect brain off anime, but
it is.
Stop.
It is. It truly is. If you turn your brain off and watch them pretty colors and hear that pretty soundtrack and you don't feel much of anything, like, because again, this goes to the video game.
It can't be true because people love those characters. You can't turn your brain off and just love characters at the same time.
You sure can, because they're simple. They're simple. They're loud. They're attention grabbing. That's really all you need when you're trying to turn your brain off and watch something. You need something simple, loud, and colorful. It's, again, I'm not insulting anybody's intelligence, not by a million miles, because again, I love One Piece. I love Bleach. I love all that loud and colorful shit too. But I think that's just it. It's easy to do that. It's easy to sit back, turn on Dandadan, and and you sit there and you watch this stuff. But
both of those you mentioned have well-established worlds, and for me, that's why when we look at Dandadan, and it's like, okay, the establishment. And I'm not saying this to specifically bash Dandadan, but it's just anime like this specifically, right? There is this establishment that we understand what the world kind of is in terms of there are aliens and there are ghosts.
Yep.
Is this the concept of the world we're looking at?
Yep.
The aliens are not necessarily a supernatural being in terms of they have.
It's just the occult, right? Occult could be alien. It could be poltergeist.
Right. Yeah. It can be alien, ghost, but you know what I mean? Like the aliens have like this specific intention on doing things that they're using it to explain phenomena on Earth, right? So the world can be explained through these either ghosts or spiritual connections.
Just hearing you talk about it's fucking just driving me up a wall.
And when I say this, and I say this every single time, outside of the aliens, right? I feel like every time we meet like one of the spiritual like people who go inside one of these kids and give them their powers, they are the coolest characters. I swear to you.
Because
and to me, they fill the world out. Yeah, but they fill the world out. You know what I mean? They make sense. And then you drop everything else off, and it's like, I'm back to not liking these characters, bro.
We're going to chase a ball. It's just so fucking dumb. It's just so dumb. Like, this isn't a Don hate rant section, but it's just, that's the only explanation I have for it. Because again, Hell's Paradise, I guarantee you can watch 3 times in a row, and each time you'll find something new that you didn't realize that you've seen before. You know what I'm saying? That you haven't seen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is just, I think it's truly and it's not flashy. It has a flashy or 2 moment in it, but it's not hugely flashy at all.
I mean, it does look really good, though.
It does look really good. But it's not, that's not what's in the forefront. What's in the forefront is them building the character, giving you lore on the character and then building the world around the character, right? Is around multiple characters that interact with each other in a more adult way. And it's not that loud. It's not that intrusive. And it's honestly, again, it's something you can't just sit back and just turn your brain off and watch, because if you turn your brain off and watch, you're going to be confused as shit. Honestly, I do believe you really, really will be confused. And I don't think it's that confusing, but I just think that's the more popular one that's confusing, right? I even think I can't. I'm trying not to bash it too bad. I think a lot of people wouldn't like Clevitas. Like, I think, has Brandon ever seen Clevitas?
No, but I did just literally explain it to him, and I was like, "This is literally one of the best anime airing right now."
And I guarantee you, he probably won't like it. He'll probably call it boring or something like that, because it just isn't. It isn't that, you know. It isn't. What's another example I could use? I don't even know. And again, we're biased. We're jaded.
But that's the funny thing though, is that almost every other anime that is like really high world building, high quality that we've all seen, he is on the same participation, understanding, and scale that you and I are on. Christian is on, and saying, you know, I love it, right? It's phenomenal. It's just the Don and Hell's Paradise thing I've ever heard him say that was like crazy.
I don't fucking know.
And he was saying he didn't like Hell's Paradise since before Don even came out.
Wow. Okay.
So he's never liked Don. He watched the whole thing through. It was wild. But I'm trying to think about, like, because he's like, the world isn't good, and I'm like, what about the world isn't good? There is no real explanation for how the world within Hell's Paradise isn't adequately explained for what it is. The characters placed within this world operate in a fashion in which we can understand, and they don't necessarily supersede those barriers until we have a moment for them to do so with explanation or with reasoning. So for me, the world building is exceptional. And I even think about, so there's 2 specific anime that I like that I don't always recommend to people. Well, one I do, but like one being Chivalry of a Failed Knight and the other one being Unbreakable Machine Doll. They're both kind of the same setting. They're school where you go learn how to fight. and you are supposed to be taken to this tournament to fight in another situation. The Unbreakable Machine Doll is more detective mystery oriented while still having fights and whatnot. And then you get to a situation where it's like, man, I really want to see more about this world, specifically about what the main character experienced with his family being basically his whole family and village being wiped out, and why that was done to them, and why he was the only one left, versus like in the Chivalry of Fell Knight, why our main character Iki Kuragane was basically exiled and treated poorly. You know, we know why, but when we saw his talent he got from not just his father but his grandfather, you know, we want to know, like, okay, how was that really grown, and what happened there? And
there's an overarching issue that you have to overcome within, I guess, both of them, but more so one big issue for Chivalry, and then multiple mini ones for Unbreakable Machine Doll. Like,
right.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? It reminds me of the fact that I turned on one episode of Call of the Night 2 weeks ago, and the relevance of it was so forgettable that I forgot to mention it last week. But it's just so fucking boring, bruh. I was like, what am I even doing? Why am I even trying to watch this? But I tried to watch it, episode 1. And this is the most boring shit I think I've ever seen in my life. And there's another one with nothing interesting to the world whatsoever.
I keep meaning to watch that, bro. I keep meaning to.
Bro, it's so
because
boring.
it literally is like you turn it on and you can go to sleep to it. And I don't mean that in a good way. Like, you know how, like I said, With You in the Rain is like lo-fi the anime.
Yeah, but I'm up when I'm watching that.
But I'm up, you know what I mean? I want to enjoy this lo-fi.
Yep.
This is like lo-fi you turn on and go to sleep.
Yep.
Vibration music.
My
just
YouTube science videos I watch.
just turn it off, man. I mean, not off. turn it off, right? But that's also what, when we talk about these things, right? That is, With You in the Rain and Call of the Night are examples of anime where they are both essentially slice of life anime. But why is one so easily to invest yourself in while the other one just drains you, so to speak? And it's because the departure in how the world is adequately explained is, we literally just have this girl and her Tanuki and the little relationship she have around her and the moments, you know what I mean? The world, and I'm not trying to minimize what's happening, but the world is kind of just these moments.
It's the moments.
It's the things that she's experiencing, but the character is so, like, and I'll say this again, endearing, that you feel beholden to understand and listen and watch and pay attention to her story.
Yeah. Whereas
in Call of the Night, this flip-flop reversal almost forced upon us. I'm not gonna say forced upon us because it's not really forced, but it seems like unnatural.
Very.
In terms of how the communication goes. Like they want this situation and they don't want this situation.
Very weird, corked out characters.
Yeah, and it just doesn't mesh well.
Nothing.
And I'm not sure if this is if it's intentionally supposed to be uncomfortable. Like, is this made for people to feel a little uncomfortable? Is that the world and we're just not the niche fan base for it?
Yeah, it could be entirely the case. Dude, I keep thinking about this shit. Fucking Apocalypse Bringer. You want to talk about a good world building? Bruh. The show is literally just basically world building, and it is established so well in a niche that you have to be sort of familiar with to kind of really appreciate, like we are. But again, I talked about it in the Discord, but they just introduced probably my new favorite character. And it's something I would never even consider saying, because I am not a fan of bugs whatsoever in real life. So to feel what I feel is just, and to be excited about what's to come is brilliant world building. You know what I mean? Brilliant world building.
what was so cool specifically about this character is the reason that he explained why he even would want to produce this character way back in like episode 2.
Yeah.
Why he would even want to produce this character, because it's going to help them build an army quicker, and it's also going to help them with productions within the village, right?
Right.
And as soon as this character is summoned, so to speak, you almost immediately get that. But not just that, but probably the reason why you like her, and probably the reason why I liked her, is that she is a very mothering kind of character, but in a cool kind of way, where it's like these characters were seeking that validation just because she came across as way more nurturing, but she boosted the morale, so to speak. You know what I mean?
So let me tell you my thoughts here, Till. The reason why I end up ultimately loving her is because I had second thoughts on her most like 95% of the episode. I'm like, something about this don't seem right. Something about this don't seem right. Something about this don't seem right. And it's because of her appearance. And I think that's what this anime was trying to establish. It was trying to give you this uncomfortable feeling, like you looking at this entity and you're like, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right because of what she is. Maybe she's secretly trying to take over or something, even though they made it clear as day that she wouldn't, because
that too.
Of what she is. She's loyal to him. But they still implanted the fact with the way she was moving around, and it just gives you this uncomfortable feeling in the back of your mind. But towards the end of the episode, when they establish what she really is, that motherly instinct of hers, it washed away. And it's like, yo, this is fucking incredible world building, because of the fact that, remember, these are evil entities, right?
And yeah. These
are evil entities. So you're supposed to automatically think, especially when you summon something like what they summoned. We're not going to tell you what it is because you got to watch the show. But when you summon something like what you summoned in a kingdom that's supposed to be evil, you feel uneasy. But again, they just walk you through these emotions as they build this world. And it's like, oh shit, I just love it.
And let me say two things, right? And you gon' rock with this as soon as I say it. I feel like you gonna rock with this as soon as I say it. It goes back to two things. One, they said that this character was always dead set on taking over the world. Two, our MC said that evil characters can really just do whatever they want.
Yep.
So her and the whole time I'm thinking she wanted to take over the world, but then I'm watching the episode, and this is kind of spoilers, but I'm watching the episode and I'm like, what if she just uses,
just be easy, don't even go to what she can.
But you
do.
Feel me?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But that's what it is. It's like this character can be perfectly loving.
Yep.
But it's an amazing anime for the world that it establishes, not only through its words, but through its actions and what you see and is portrayed within the show.
It's that uneasy feeling you get for them, the artist, behind the scenes people making the show, to wash it away from you slowly by chipping at you, chipping away. And it's just setting it up, and then it ends. You just feel this. I fucking love her type feeling at the very end. But I think no matter who you are watching it, you will feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? It is just, it's special. It's a special type of world building that, again, you don't see very often.
This anime is crazy, bro.
It's so good. It's so fucking good.
Because them knights, I keep thinking about them knights pulling up to the forest. Yeah. It's like, oh man.
And to go to another one that I find, this one is a little bit, this is the same, man. This is, again, I keep thinking about, but what is the world? But then as soon as I say, but what is the world immediately comes into my head, and that's the Seventh Prince.
Mm-hmm.
I was reincarnated as the Seventh Prince, so I take my time perfecting my magical ability. It's literally in the title. It's all it is. But it established the world, in a world where the rules are fucking obscene before our main character. But it works. It all works. And I think this was made for just pure entertainment purposes. This isn't going to be your Attack on Titan world. This isn't going to be your Hell's Paradise world building. None of that. But it does have rules. Does it? Hard to say rules, but
I kind of got it because I don't think it has rules, right? And this is kind of what makes this one so cool.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is a contradiction to what we have been saying the whole time.
You're right.
But what makes it so well established is the fact that it establishes what our main character is. Our main character wants to learn and decipher and just practice magic as much as possible. He wants to find out all of it, right? Break it all. And his position is a prince. His position as a prince has been what's taken him and traveled around with him throughout this entirety of the show, and even maneuvered or put him in positions where people misunderstood what he was until he showed them what he really was, right? And then we get these characters who are placed in the world who are just indomitably OP, right? Yeah. And our character is like you said, he's meant to break that. And that is what takes it to the next level, because there seems to be the only rule established is how is our character going to break it? And then what they do is, and I love how they do it. They give us this like almost semi-intricate understanding of how he understands it. And then they just take it to the next level immediately.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's the perfect way. People that don't watch it wouldn't understand what the fuck we're saying right now, but that's exactly right. Because you can't really, it's so hard to talk about. And it's so hard to talk about because it's just pure chaos.
Yeah.
But that's what it's pure entertainment chaos. Because you know how Dragon Ball has its world, right? And then,
which is supposed to be well established.
Yeah, I mean, it is. To be honest, it is. But then they have to take it to obscene levels that starts to not make sense in later arcs of it. Mm-hmm. That's because it's supposed to be a well-established world. This one is what you said earlier. It's kind of like the antithesis of that. But it works because of, I guess, the one rule. This is the seventh prince who doesn't have as much responsibility as the first prince or the second prince even, or even the third prince for that matter. He's the seventh prince. So responsibilities are negligible. So he then can take his time after being reincarnated into this position, perfecting the magical ability he never had in his previous life. So that is it. And because he has the innate ability to, not the innate ability, the obscene amount of mana, that's where the world stops, basically. Everything else just kind of falls into his world, essentially, which is, again, the antithesis of what we've been talking about this whole time, because there's no real established world. There's some historical stuff here and there, but cultural stuff. And to be honest, this show is top tier for me. Like,
it's crazy.
If we talked about this in the pre-show a little bit, but this would be in my top 50, to be honest.
It is that good. It is really that good. It's crazy though, right? Yeah. To even think that like
a show like
this, a show like this is, it's funny because looking at the show, right? Obviously we would enjoy it, but to the level of how enjoyable it is, I feel like people just, it's got to be slept on so heavily,
skimmed over or something. And maybe it's the art style the only thing, talked about.
People complained before about how he was dressed and whatnot.
Which is weird.
But I don't know. I'm not watching all that. I'm like, the show is animated extremely well, and the way that the action takes place is amazing. And it is, like I said, it's the antithesis to everything we've said, while also being a complete harbinger and carrier for the understanding that we're trying to make. Mm-hmm. That the world and these characters do have to coincide, and they have to work together to create the aspect that is going to be what makes this enjoyable. Yeah. The world and the characters have to be good together. You can't have one without the other.
That's exactly right. And then, go ahead.
A silent witch. Secret of the Silent Witch. It's another show where, man, we are so in the dark on some of the aspects of the world. Like on these sages, you know what I mean? We don't know all of them. We only really know the two that we know, and even how things work out in the show. I would say like the show opened up with this grand, large kind of concept of what the world would be.
Yeah.
But they closed it in terms of how we're going to carry out throughout the show. And I think that was very a smart idea, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Me too.
And that is another aspect that is the art of world building, where they opened up with this large world to close it. And I could imagine in like a season 2 or even later in this season, they'll open it up again. And because of how this was established, it just becomes even more beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yes, because they show it on a grand scale, like you said. And then when they close it off to the point where it's hyper focused. It's hyper focused, but still, guess what? You still get world pieces with what the prince is and what he's doing and how he's working it, and you know what's happening within the political aspect of this world in its entirety, in which we learn more about when we no spoilers, but when we learned about what Casey did last week. So it's like it's intricate. It's intricate for sure, but it's very bite-sized intricacies that makes it interesting. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh man, 78 mean score on that list should be higher for sure. Like it should most definitely be higher than Kaiju. They're the same, and that's just not the case, I think, personally. And then to bring up something from last season, which we talk about almost every week because we have to, is 2B Hero X. That talk about some brilliant world building. Holy shit.
Yeah, bro.
This is probably one of the prime examples of how you can have a an overly tuned situation, but still keep the world as meaningful and important and viable and nice and just interesting.
I think that this show is one of those situations where obviously the characters are carrying the show, right?
Nah,
but
the world is.
But listen to me.
Okay.
The characters, I feel like the characters are carrying the show because that's where the story follows these specific characters. But what stays constant between all the characters, no matter what you do, is how the world works and unfolding the mysteries of this world, so to speak. You know what I mean? And when I say that the characters are carrying, I literally just mean that they're the through line that is like showing you different aspects and understandings of this world.
Yeah, no. I think
go
it's
ahead.
world first. This is one of the shows where the world is a 10, the characters is a 9. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an invert aspect of what I feel about normal shows that I watch, and I absolutely love. I absolutely love when the characters are a 10 and the world is a 9 or an 8. In this particular case, I love the fact that the world is a 10 and the characters are a 9, because the characters are they're just, again, like you said, they're just pieces to put you through this line of what this world actually is. And this world is what we are finding out to be, that these fucking political, commercialized fucking big wigs, and I'm not going to go into any more than that, but are just it's just suits basically trying to control a situation or a system that they shouldn't have any business being a part of. But
and that's essentially what I am trying to say. Exactly what you're saying right now.
But you kind of understand where they're coming from because of
the fear of it all.
Yes. Or I mean, in this particular case, the trust of it all. Because if it's too much of that, then we know what can happen. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just that's what it is. Because again, we're jumping around between these characters. And like I said last week, I didn't really care about anybody, you know, last week, character wise, but the world is so interesting that I'm fucking here for it. But this week, I'm gonna save it for spoiler because I want to talk about it. I have to talk about it. I just have to. And
yeah, the characters are just the paper plane that's thrown to show you the rest of the world. Is more or less what I was getting at. These characters are just what you're following to get through the world. I do think that some of the characters are extremely cool, but without the world being the constant, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Without the world being the constant, these characters could not be as cool. And I even think that it's funnier that with the lack of knowledge of the world that we had in the beginning, all the way to now where we have much more knowledge on the world, pieces get put together, understandings get made, and it's still like, yo, this is crazy.
Okay. We've 20-something episodes in. We introduced so many different characters.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I count 4 that I like? You understand what I'm saying?
You like Nice? You like Esol?
No, I don't like Nice. I like Ling Ling. What is that his name?
Yeah, Lin Ling.
Ling Ling. Yeah.
Well, that's what I meant. Nice. That's what I meant. I meant Lin Ling. But yeah, Lin Ling. You like Lin Ling? You like Esol?
Nope. I don't like Esol.
You like
Ghost?
Oh yeah, of course. You like Ghost? You like
Queen?
Oh yeah, Queen is fire. Plus, you like Lil Johnny?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't like Lil Johnny. You like Cyan. Lucky Cyan. I was gonna say you don't like Lucky Cyan.
We can admit it on Lucky Cyan. She's like a side thumb.
Oh, you like X though?
Yes.
Yes. You like X.
And it's probably not for the reasons you think, but
I will say this as a well-known as a person who feels like he knows Polo. For whatever reason, he likes X. I'm just telling listeners now. I don't know why Polo likes X, but if he likes X for what I'm thinking he likes X for, I will be thoroughly surprised.
Okay. Let's get to know my chick waifu and go on this story.
You roll the random generator.
Yeah. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
76.
What is your favorite anime with a strong female lead?
Betrothed to My Sister's Ex. I'm just using this week as just to be easy.
Saint's magic powers and omnipotent.
Fucking amazing. I love her to death. Okay, so what we spoiling this week? To Be Hero X. Let's do episode 22 of To Be Hero X. I really want to do episode 20 of Sword of the Demon Hunter, but that's just me gushing about why I loved it so much, and that's.
You can, to be fair, but I'm one episode behind. I did not watch this week's episode.
I can't do that because it's a very important episode, so definitely can't do that. What you got?
Did you want to talk about Dr.Stone?
Yes, we can. Episode 8 of Dr.Stone, Cour 2. That's it? Maybe Lord of Mysteries?
Yeah, we can definitely do that too. We can definitely do that too.
So 8.
That's crazy. Season 4, Cour 2, episode 8 is crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. It's so wild.
Oh my God. Okay.
And then Lord of Mysteries episode 6 dubbed. Okay. Got the notes together. Now let's get into To Be Hero X. Why do you think I like X?
And hear me out. I'm only saying this because I don't expect this to be true. But if it's true, I will be completely surprised.
Oh, it's a lot more simple than you think. So I'm going to give you that little hint.
Is it because he's overpowered?
Nope. Not even close.
Okay, cool. Then what is it? Is it because he's the antithesis to everything that we know so far? We don't know anything about him?
Yes.
Okay. Then I can rock with that.
It's literally the thought of us thinking that he was just this well, he is this untouchable being that seems evil, but he's not. He actually seems like a really good dude, essentially. And that's what I like about him the most. Because when he came floating down, the look of sadness on his face to see Mr. Smiley, whatever the fuck his name was, that is what interested or had me more intrigued than anything else that he did. Like everything else he did, the dimension shifting and shit, cool, that's fine. Following up the fucking author's work, it was cool. Mind you, everything the show does fight-wise is cool. And the creativeness of X's power and him being him is cool. But the thing that stuck out to me the most was his emotions that he had towards Smile, who I didn't give a fuck about. So because he had that emotion towards him, I got emotional at the fact that this motherfucker, who was seemingly stronger than anything in this verse, was what the what we can call now the suits are probably going to try to get rid of, was more intriguing and more important to me than anything else that happened this episode.
Yeah.
And that shit was fire to me. So fire.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that was part of the most impactful thing for him. What also felt impactful to me is the fact that, and this is kind of what I was talking about previously, is that things happen in this anime where we lack knowledge and we get all the way to this point and now we know more, right?
Yeah.
Before we knew about the trust system, that was the first thing we learned about. We learned that they wanted to make a X hero, or they were doing an advertisement to be Hero X. And then we learned about fear at the end of Ling Ling's situation, right? Then we get all the way here and we realize that the suits, as you say, are trying to use trust and fear to get rid of those who are just too powerful. They want to be able to take those people down. And oddly enough, X is the mystery that they can't crack because they don't know anything about him. They don't know how he got so powerful. They don't know, so to speak, what he is made of or what he came from. And his emotion to the situation is what, like, I agree, it makes it so cool because he's an outlier while still being emotionally tied to the situation we're seeing, right? It is one of those things that's really cool. And I'll say I'm not going to say he didn't pay attention to Nice, but he put that focal point on, like you said, Mr. Smiles.
Yep.
He put that focal point on him to show that, this is what the emotion should be. Because, and I'll say this, while I think Queen is a great character, Queen doesn't show that emotion up front because I understand that she has to put on a strong front, right?
Yep.
Constantly. So she's not going to show that emotion. The only character we've seen that's shown those levels of emotion to like be somewhat empathetic to others, I would say for the most part, it was, the new Isol before he became what he is now, and then Lin Ling.
Yep. And I the reason why I don't like Isol is because for you to go from who you were to what you are now, that still does not add up to me. Mm-hmm. Regardless of PTSD or whatever PTSD you have of the situation that you was brought in, I don't think was warranted enough to become what you did to Ling Lin. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a lot of shit that I don't know that maybe that's the point. Maybe they'll show that eventually, but we only have a few episodes left, so I kind of doubt it. Maybe they will. They have to. It has to be shown probably next few episodes.
Yeah, we about to get the dog episode.
Oh no. I forgot about the dog episode.
Yeah, we about to get the dog episode, and then we will get the X episode.
Okay, so we probably won't touch on. Okay, hear me out. What if, gut check. What if Ling Lin is X?
I mean, that would be extremely cool, so to speak, because they do kind of have some resemblances, but I don't think that is going to be.
At least I can't remember what his voice was, actually. I can't remember Ling Lin's voice, and that might be the point of them doing that in the first episode. And now we're 20 weeks past. I don't remember what he sounded like, because that could have happened after what happened with Iso doing what he did to his girl, because we don't know what happened after that with Ling Lin. Oh. You're listening?
Yeah, bro.
Is it the same voice?
I'm trying to. I was about to go. I'm trying to see what was the next episode, but actually, when you said that, it made me want to go see if the voice actors were the same.
Yeah, that just kind of blew my mind right there.
Because it would be interesting, but we don't know.
No, that's not true. It can't be. It can't. I'm stupid. Ignore me. This isn't it. I know, Rob Stone, you're probably typing in the comments right now. Delete that comment.
Okay.
Because you got to think, Nice killed himself shortly after this.
Yeah, but Nice and Ling Lin ain't the same.
Exactly. So X is he's moving about right now. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Then Nice kills himself after this situation because of what happened to Smiles and him not wanting to be a pawn. And basically, right, this is when he walks off the building and Lin sees this. And then that's when he becomes the new Nice. So there's no way he could be X.
Right.
So that was a stupid thought.
The next episode is Ahu on September 7th. And then September 14th, we get X.
What's the next episode?
Ahu, the dog episode.
Oh, like a dog's howl. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. I can't wait to get that. We just have to wait because we just have to wait. But I'm not cutting that out either because I don't feel like editing. Yeah, don't type the comments. I know it's not. I know he's not Ling Ling. But anyway, yeah, no, that episode was fantastic. The soundtrack was so good, so good. And the way they transitioned to 3D and then back to 2D, and then he balls up to the kid. It's fucking great. Yeah. It was all great.
Demon move though, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What if he's just the author of To Be Hero X?
I mean, then he could be Ling Lin.
I guess so. I guess that's true. Good point. He entirely could be. All right.
All right, bro. Dr.Stone season 4, Cour 2, episode 8. My goodness, that's long.
Yeah.
That's what she said. So yeah, this episode hurt my heart.
Yeah.
Can't lie to you. Now I knew that this season could get grave, right? Like I figured it could get serious. But I'm gonna tell you, they definitely foreshadowed this, and I say specifically in this episode they foreshadowed it because Kohaku kept saying in our final battle this, you know what I mean? She kept talking about how this is the last time, and we knew that because of this season, this was supposed to be portrayed as the last, right?
Yeah, but you got to think though, who else would it be if it wasn't their last? You know what I'm saying? After this quote unquote battle take place, what else issues would they have?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like once they figure this point out, they can just go straight to the moon. Essentially, I guess the moon could have been a last battle too.
Right. But I figured this was going to be like, I'm not going to lie. I thought we would got like a time skip. And I say that because I feel like there has to be a clear amount of
time skip, to be fair.
Yeah. It's moving faster than we think, right? This is not 1-2 days. It's moving a lot faster than we think. But I'm thinking like this is going to be years down the line. We'd have to get and understand, you know, what is truly taking place here. But then we get the confrontation with Stanley's group and how they figure out. So the genius in this episode though is that it is a 1-for-1 trade, so to speak. You know what I mean? They had to trade something for the future. And cutting off Stanley's communication was obviously the best possible trade, right?
Yeah. Because they can't hurt the once they're hurt, they can't call back to hurt the hostages that are at the base, the main base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like this was tough because for me it's like grown motherfuckers are shooting kids, man.
Bro.
And that's just me being real, you know what I'm saying? Me thinking outside of the anime, which is, again, something I tend to do when I bring logic to my anime, which is one of the most illogical medias there is. But I feel like, oh, you bastards, you know?
That's exactly how I feel. And I say I specifically feel this way because they know that although 2 of these 3 characters, and I wouldn't even say 2, one of these 3 children was willing to kill, so to speak, right?
True.
Tsukasa was not actually willing to kill anymore.
Oh.
Kohaku was never willing to go that far. Oh. And I feel like Stanley and Zeno both know that from the beginning that these children have never truly meant to harm, that their goal is only to progress and move forward. That was what was established.
Yep.
So it does make it hard that you really want to go that far because you just want complete control over the world.
Yeah.
And that is what Tsukasa was fighting against in the beginning. Yep. This is the whole like eco or theory behind the whole ethos behind what Tsukasa was doing. He wanted to fight against this specific situation. And then we get it, and then we get a little bit play out of his story. I'm like, dang, man, it felt heavy because of like, this is exactly what you were trying to prevent. And it would have happened regardless, you know, because little did he know these people were on the other side of the world doing this anyway, right? They were coming to this conclusion, trying to do this anyway. But it was the amount of time and struggles that we spent with these characters, you know what I mean? Like, we did have a fight with this character where, you know, there was life or death on the line.
Right. And
we brought this character back from the brink of death, or death, so to speak, to get to this point. And he's on our side now. Yeah. And then, yeah, bro.
You know what? Where I have the concern?
What's that?
My concern is that the fact that he did mention the fact that the revival fluid, quote unquote, brought him back on the brink of, which means that it probably won't work again the same way. You know, once they die, because they're dying. And that's because the fact that he brought it up normally means that it won't happen again, or it won't happen like we think because of the fact that he mentioned it. If he didn't mention it, then we can all speculate like, oh, he can bring him back with the revival fluid. But because he mentioned it, it probably means this is kind of a final deal. And I don't like that. Because I would fucking love for that revival fluid to bring even...
It's not going to bring the other dude back because they say he's already dead.
Yep.
So I don't think that is going to bring him back at all. And
they're dying.
Yeah, they're dying. So the only chance we got, and I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking like, man, maybe they do the thing where they call it out, let it go, and then throw the liquid up in the air and let it splash on him when it finishes or whatever. I don't know, bro. I am genuinely like, dang, is this the end for those characters? And I'll say this: if it is the end for them, I do feel like, man, it was a good way for them to go, so to speak. But man, does it suck for them to go, because the trade-off, I think, was realistic. It was realistic.
It was realistic. Yeah. That's because it wasn't good. It wasn't. I still don't think it was a good trade-off per se, because you didn't kill one of these adults that's trying to kill you. Again, it's just my thought of grown men offing kids for the sake of
never.
And I just don't. It just don't feel right because I don't care what you're trying to establish here. There's no excusable reason, even in an anime. I think personally, you know what I mean. I can't find it. I can't think of it. Like I sat there and I processed it. Like, but why would you kill the kids?
Not
if they're not going to kill you,
right? I agree with you, and not to, I guess,
capture them, bind them.
This is Americans versus Japanese children.
That makes it even worse.
that doesn't make it worse. That makes it 100% worse, man.
You know what I'm saying? So,
they didn't pull any punches, but I will say it was genuinely like, because this whole season of Dr.Stone has been stellar in my opinion. It has a nice flow to it. They've been moving. The science has been sciencing. Yep. It's just been hurtful.
Yep.
Yeah, any gut checks on what we getting next, bro?
I was just about to say, I think Zeno's gonna be upset about him doing that. No.
Why you say that?
I just don't. I feel like Zeno might. No, because he did tell Stanley to kill Senku, though. But he was hesitant.
It would be the time with him now if anything would change. But I feel like Zeno, he has a thought in mind or a goal in mind, and he's not gonna let that slide.
Yeah, good point. Good point. It's just awful. I hate it because those are I love those three characters, all three of them. You know,
all three of them, bro, and they all were enemies. Well, at one point. Yeah, they all were enemies at one point, just at different points in time.
Yep. And it was so hard to see. The hardest part was seeing Kohaku lay there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a little girl, bro.
Yeah, what is she like? She's like 13 or 14.
Yes, she's a little girl, and you riddled her with bullet holes and left her for fucking dead. Like that doesn't compute with anybody else. I feel like even in the Discord,
you're not the only one, bro. You're not the only one. Wait, like Discord, what did they say?
They were just like, yeah, I'm so sad, but I'm like, I feel anger. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel. Nothing about it feels right at all.
Yeah, you feel the same sense of like injustice that I'm feeling.
Yeah,
I'm just hurt.
Yeah, it's wrong, man. It's wrong. All right.
I didn't even realize everybody was also sad.
Yeah, everybody's so sad.
Yo, okay.
It's a miserable thing. All right. Moving on to Lord of Mysteries, which easily could have been episode of the week this week.
Yo, yeah, this is phenomenal. But also last week could have been episode. Was it episode week last week? Oh, every episode of this has been phenomenal, especially in this dub.
Dude, the breakdown of the reason of Klein's death, the storyboarding he did within the midst of all of that, and it breaking down, and him coming to the conclusion that he doesn't necessarily have to rely on his seer ability to hit that digestion breakthrough. And then when he broke through, he's like, oh shit, now I can see even more. I'm just like, yo, I cannot wait to see him take this fucking clown potion.
All right.
There's 23 potions, man.
And hear me out. Just listen to me when I say this, right? Because I'm not spitting, but I'm about to try. When I'm watching this episode, I'm thinking about the episode where he looked at the god and was told, you don't look at a god directly, right?
Last episode. Yep.
Right. And I'm thinking about the fallen creator and how that kind of played out, right? I'm like, man, this concept is crazy, right? And he keeps talking about who could be a seer or who could be another who beyonder who doesn't have quite the same level of power that he does, right? Because he's saying like, oh, I'm just a seer. I'm just a seer. I'm just a seer. putting himself low on the totem pole. But we also talk about this power, and I think that this is why I think that as he gets closer to number one, we're going to view him as a god. And I say that not close to a god. I think that he will be equivalent to that, because the way that they keep talking about how the seer is lower than everything else, or it's not high up. Yeah, it's just this lower abysmal sense of power.
And even the other transmagrified king, or the transmagrified guy that became a king, and his regret for not choosing seeker. Or seer. Sorry.
So I think that, and I think that what makes it so cool is I'm thinking about, as a seer, right? As his powers grow, as he develops with, taking the potions and getting past and through more and more sequences, we realize his understandings grow, his wisdom grows, right? He's learning more as he grows. And even the assistance he's getting from the other two, that is helping him move forward and come to conclusions. And even I still think about the prayer that they did that helped him get through that situation, right? Those are things that are semblances of a god, so to speak. You know what I mean? The fact that he was empowered by their prayer at that time. I think that all leads to the signage that he's going to be at that point. He's just not quite there yet. But I view it as that's why it is such a twisted outcome that the others were experiencing when they were talking about that, because the power can become distorted so easily with how it's used or manipulated and seen, that the clairvoyance, so to speak, with this is you seeing, eventually you will be not just seeing what happened, but what it will happen and how things will happen. And that is nothing other than godhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you got to remember, the way I'm thinking to myself, what does the clown potion do? Because there are, again, these 22 different potions. You go from seer, and you got to go to the next level, or you got to find what your next level is, which we found out is clown. What does the clown potion give Klein that advances his power even further? And then when does he digest clown? And then what comes after clown? And then when does he digest that? And what comes, you know what I'm saying? So it's like whatever sequence in this branch that he's following is going to lead him to that godhood that you spoke so eloquently about. That I just like, that's what makes Lord of the Mysteries so great, is the mystery behind the next power for, a seer, right? So I'm so excited. I'm so excited because of that particular track that we are going. I'm looking forward to seeing, and then how he can utilize that to go deeper into the mist, or further into the mysteries of the world that we talked about earlier, in which of like artifacts and this mystery of Klein's suicide and etc. I need more. And I just love it.
I agree. Now here's my perspective on clown, and let me know what you think. I think that, so he has to, in the digestion, right, he has to embody some aspect of what he is doing, right? Not relying on the seer abilities and everything else he's done. But think about if once he digests and he gets the clown, maybe it is about being a trickster. Maybe it is about being
misdirection,
being a trickster, or even like somewhat of like a humbleness. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you're no longer this role. You have to play that role to digest and get to the next, situation. And that's why when he was saying it's not about acting, stop acting. Let it just be. Stop trying to use your ability to see every step. Stop. And then he was able to get to that next, understand what that was and to continue his digestion. And I think that maybe that's what the clown will be as well. Maybe that's what the embodiment has to be. When you ingest that potion, you have to embody what it is. And that's where people probably get lost in this distortion.
Guess what? I just looked up something. Because what this seems to, and nothing about the show. Well, it's in relevance to the show, but what the theme of the show has been tarot cards. I look up the clown tarot cards, which is just the fool, which is what he called himself in the mist with the others. And it says the clown tarot card refers to the fool tarot card, which is often associated with the sacred clown or the jester figure, symbolizing new beginnings, leaps of faith, and spiritual novice's journey through life.
So humble was the closest thing I said.
I was just about to say that's why I started reading it. And while the classic, okay, this is just other stuff. So yeah, variations of tarot imagery is whimsical and playful. So there's a few different meanings. When reversed, the fool can warn against acting impulsively, poor judgment, or lack of direction, sometimes indicating a feeling of being trapped or making foolish decisions. Foolish decision could be him using the luck ritual that he did I think it was episode 2, or I think it's still 1 because the episodes are super long. But yeah, doing that the luck ritual he did that he got from China and try to do in this world to go back. That could have been, a foolish decision. You know what I'm saying? Or upright meanings, the fool represents new experiences, joyful beginnings, an adventurous spirit, and a carefree approach to life that attracts opportunities, which is exactly what's been happening throughout this entire episode of him. Everything that he divines in the mist is leading him right to the answers that he needs next. And like the sequence of this mystery. It's so fucking crazy. It's so crazy. You like my Tut impression? It's wonderful. It's wonderful, dude.
10 out of 10 anime right now.
It's really
been
is.
amazing.
It really is. And it's so crazy how different it is from when you try to watch the sub. Because I tried to go to the next episode sub, and I'm fucking confused. I'm just so confused. So it was like 5 minutes, and I can't do it because I really wanted to see, but I didn't understand anything. What's happening? And that's crazy to me because all I'm doing is reading.
A little bit.
You know what I'm saying? Apparently, it's according to the netizens, it's so different than like the manhwa, because the manhwa goes into more of a order, while this is kind of jumping a little bit. But this feels so sequentially sound within these first 6 that I'm okay with it.
Yeah, bro. I think it's been a joy to watch the way it is.
Absolutely.
In dub.
Absolutely. All right, bro. I'm at Polo Born Fly on all social media.
I'm at King Italiano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at youtube.com/@MikeCheckWaifu. And at youtube.com/@Respect Games every Wednesday at 7 a.m. And as always, Mike check with respect.
You're now tuned into Mike Check Waifu Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?